back thousands of years, back to the ancient Orient. Oh, I'm so glad I have everything on photos. Otherwise, they'd never believe me back in Oklahoma.
Well, it's a long drive to the club.
Not nearly long enough. Now, Henry, you don't have to race along at 30 miles an hour. Slow down to a safe and sane 20.
Yes, boss.
I always think if something's going to happen, it'll happen at 20 as well as at 80.
Are you referring to speed or age?
Do you think my eyes are interesting?
Fascinating.
I've also been told I have very good tissue.
Superb.
Thank you. I plan to will all my tissue to a tissue bank. It's needed very badly.
Well, as long as you're making donations, can a common man put in his bid?
In fact, I may decide to will my whole body to science for research.
I'm no scientist, but I love research. Captain Burke. Male, Caucasian, around 40. All right, Tim, I'll be there in 20 minutes.
It's Burke's Law.
What have you got?
Body in the trunk. We pulled the car in here to get it out of traffic.
Oriental knife trick, huh?
Up, down, and sideways.
Other than that, what's new?
The name is Eric Hansen, professor of Oriental philosophy at Martin University. Age 41, married, no children, resides with his wife Sylvia at 3780 Faculty Avenue, apartment 2C.
Zip code number?
I believe 91604 is the code number of that district.
I'd make book on it if you say so.
We don't know where he was killed. Nobody saw him until the Chinese girl driving the car hit a mailbox out there in the street and the lid of the trunk popped open.
Yeah, and she had a child with her. They jumped out of the car, ducked down here, then disappeared.
She lost this in flight.
Cinderella, Oriental version, huh? Whose car is this?
Belonged to the professor.
Any of you people see the girl who was driving this car?
I not only saw her, I shot a photo of her.
Oh, well, that's just wonderful. Would you mind giving your camera to Sergeant Hart? Miss,
Ruth Potter.
Miss Potter, we'll develop the pictures for you immediately and at no charge to yourself.
I'd like glossy prints, please.
2 of each?
Oh, I'd like dozens of the body. I want to send them to just everybody. The folks back home are so curious, you know. Oh, I waited years for this trip, and I never dreamed it could be so exciting.
Well, we do try to make things interesting for visitors.
Why, that's the girl right there. That's the one I took the photo of.
Dinner for one?
No, thank you. Where's Hopsy?
Oh, sorry, sir. Oh, but he'll be back shortly.
Where could I find Lotus Bud?
Oh, just a minute, sir.
Extremely sorry, Dapper, sir, but this is a private party.
10 million quivering apologies for disturbing your revelry, but I seek a young dancer named Lotus Bud.
Alas, Lotus Bud is not among those present. But effusions of joy fill my pallid life as I humbly contemplate the possibility of helping you. Obviously wealthy, sir.
Oh, my thank yous fill the air like the limpid notes from the master's flute.
You got that formal jazz down real nice, fella. Lotus Bud's a particularly tasty morsel. As Chinese say, you got a yen?
Any Chinese who would say that ought to be ashamed of himself.
The name's Sen Yang, formerly Sydney Yang. I changed it for business reasons.
What business?
Import, export, in a manner of speaking. If you need it, I got it. If I don't got it, ain't worth having.
And how's business?
How about a nice timepiece?
Oh, no, Sydney,
Diamonds? 2, 4, 10, 16 carats? All merchandise carries good housekeeping seal of approval. Genuine pseudo diamond. Well, a little too rich for your blood, eh? I can understand that. Maybe what you need is a little authentic Chinese junk.
Oh, no.
How about something a little harder to get? Absinthe? Hashish?
Sydney, I don't mean to be a bore, but I happen to be a policeman, Captain Burke of Homicide.
Yikes, I've been talking to dishonorable fudge.
Sydney, it's quite illegal to sell hashish.
Just a little gag for the tourists, Captain.
Well, the only thing that would make me forget that little gag would be if you could help me find Lotus Bud.
Oh, don't know her whereabouts, honest, most beloved, sir.
A man was found dead in front of the club.
Just a simple country boy trying to make honest buck in a sordid world.
He was murdered.
As my Western brothers say, I am clean, Captain. Have been most pleasantly occupied with own swinging affairs.
Well, stay close, Sid. I may want to check into your fortunes later. Very good peach petal.
Thank you. Nice to see you again, Amos.
I sincerely hope you'll be enjoying your dinner. Ah, Faith, it's Captain Burke.
Sure, and it's Hop St. Kelly.
I'd be after making you welcome to this miserable home of Cantonese Irish stew, Honorable Seamus.
Business going on as usual with a murder at your doorstep.
It's a dreadful bad affair, that it is. Enough to be making a monk out of a mandarin, as Confucius might say.
Did you know anything about it?
Not a thing. You have my word. As Confucius, that darling man, once said...
Spare me the Oriental philosophy. Do you have any idea where I can find your dancer, Lotus Bud?
Well, I'd be guessing she's in her dressing room, making ready to entertain.
Puzzling if true. She was seen driving a car with a murdered man in the trunk.
Sure, and she has never left these very premises all night.
Oh, I don't mean to doubt your veracity, Hopsing. It's just that I want to take a peek in that dressing room. Sheer curiosity.
You'd not be disturbing the modest maiden in the midst of changing her clothes now.
I'll knock before I enter.
You'll be after upsetting the poor delicate petal of a girleen.
It's bad enough that your ancestry is so confused. Let's try to keep our relationship honest. Show me her dressing room, will you?
Lotus Bud's a dear, sweet thing. Innocent as a newborn babe, she is.
Yes, I know. I saw her photo out front. Hopsing, my dear old mixed-up Irish noodle vendor. If there's a Lotus Bud in there, I'm a rose petal.
Yes?
I'm a rose petal.
I beg your pardon?
I'd like to talk to you for a moment, if I can.
A fine broth of a man, Captain Burke of Homicide.
Thanks for the recommendation, Hop Sing. From now on, I promise to believe every word in those fortune cookies of yours. May I?
I am just about to change for my number.
I'll try not to detain you.
You are looking for something, Captain?
Mm-hmm. The mate to the shoe. It should be in here.
What?
This is your shoe, isn't it?
No, I'm sorry. I guess I cannot be Cinderella, just an ugly stepsister.
Oh, you couldn't be anybody's ugly stepsister.
Thank you. Now, if you will pardon me, I really must start to dress for my number.
A man was murdered in the vicinity a short while ago.
Yes, I have heard so.
His body was found in the trunk of a car. You were identified as the driver of that car.
Oh, you know what people say, Captain Burke. All Oriental look alike.
Yes, I don't believe that, and I'm sure you don't either.
But I do not own the car.
The car belonged to the dead man. You were seen running from it with a little Chinese girl.
I know of no murdered man, no car, no child. I've been in this club all night.
All right, I'll leave it that way until the photo is developed.
Photo?
I better explain later. Even a case-hardened police captain can have a sense of modesty. I hope everything comes off all right.
You find a girl to fit the shoe?
I'm not sure, but it would help if we could find the other shoe.
That woman's photo is being developed at the lab.
Well, if it's a typical amateur shot, we could expect it to be double exposed, overexposed, underexposed, and no exposure at all.
You know, one of these days we're going to find ourselves with a nice, easy case.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, where the murderer's standing over a warm body with a smoking gun in his hand.
Tim, see if Hop Sing has Lotus Bud's address. What took you so long?
Sorry.
This is Lotus Bud's address?
Yes, sir. It's almost next door to the...
I know, next door to where the murdered man lived.
Same apartment building, same floor.
Has the widow been notified?
Yeah, take her down to the morgue to identify the body now.
Tim, why don't you stay here? Keep your eye on Lotus Bud. Les and I'll take a shot at her apartment. There's a small but very vital link missing. I think we can find it there.
Yeah, the shoe?
And the little girl.
This was Hanson's apartment.
The professor, he certainly lived well.
Not bad for a Chinese dancer either.
Manager said 2E.
Yeah.
Let me have the key. Anyone home? Two shoes, and 1 foot in the grave for Miss Lotus Bud, I'm afraid. Is there a rear exit?
No. It's on
Good height. Don't be frightened, sweetheart. No frightened? No frightened. I am nice man. I want to help you. Help? This lady, Lotus Bud, she your friend? Sister? Mama. Lotus Bud, your mama. Huh?
Come on, Cookie, answer the captain. Spanky, Spanky.
Les, remind me to have a talk to you about your way with women. Come on, darling. You'll have to go along with Sergeant Hart, kitten. He's really a very nice, kindly old gentleman.
Now come along, Grandpa Goodhart, kitten.
He's a nice man, darling. You go. Take her down to the car and wait. Phone Tim, have him pick up Lotus Bud. Bring it to headquarters.
Enter.
Mrs. Eric Hansen?
Yes. Please do not disturb me. I'm about to enter withdrawal into the second stage of inner contemplation.
Inner contemplation on the rocks. Very dry.
Who are you?
I'm Captain Burke. I'm in homicide.
The police have already been here. I went down to the morgue. I saw Eric. He's dead.
Yes, I know. I hate to trouble you further in your hour of grief.
Who's grieving? Sit down. Try withdrawal.
No, thanks. There's an old saying, when you withdraw, don't drink.
There's nothing against gin in the doctrine of the Eightfold Path. I find it helps a lot.
Are you a Buddhist?
Oh, Eric was, so I was. When in China, think Chinese.
I gather you weren't too fond of your life with Eric.
Dullsville.
And bad enough to kill him?
Not a chance. She killed him. The Chinese wench down the hall in 2E.
Lotus Bud?
What Lotus Bud? Her real name is Mary Ling.
Mary Ling?
Teacher of Oriental philosophy. She was Eric's assistant at the university.
Does she live alone?
Now she does. She practically lived with Eric the last 3 months.
Hanky?
Well, they weren't grading term papers.
Then who's the little girl in the apartment? Do you know who she is?
I never heard of any little girl.
Before you withdraw any deeper into the Eightfold Martini Pat, may I ask where you were this evening?
I was right here, Captain Burke, with 3 neophyte monks. Withdrawing.
I'm sure you can supply their names and addresses.
I thought you'd never ask.
Well, after I check them out, I may have to see you again.
Oh, anytime.
Thank you, Miss Hanson. You have my condolences.
I also have 50,000 lovely insurance dollars. Give Lotus Bud my thanks.
Bad news. I called Tim. Lotus Bud gave him the slip. She never did do her dance. He can't figure how she ducked out.
Well, catch one, lose one. I'm going to hang on to this one and take her home with me. You stick out here just in case Lotus Bud comes looking for the child. I'll call headquarters in the car and send help.
The DA's going to scream if you take that kid home.
Look, I've been screamed at before. Besides, headquarters is no place for a lady.
From what I hear, neither is your place.
But the trouble was I couldn't go home either.
Hey, Barman, come here.
Yes, Max.
What is this, Death Valley? Man could die of thirst in here.
You don't serve minors, and besides, it's past your bedtime.
I'm merely asking a drop for my friend, Mr. Charlie January. He's so parched he can't speak for himself.
Sorry, Max. I'd like to, Mr. January, but I've been ordered not to run a tab on you anymore.
Have no fear, Gil. I have great hopes for employment. Curtain's going up on my new TV special next month.
The curtain came down on your credit last year.
To you, sir, patron of the arts, respecter of talent, backbone of the theater. I don't know what he'd do without me. Say, boss, why don't you tell him about the time you went to Afghanistan?
Oh, Max, I don't think they'd be interested in that.
Yes, they would.
Mr. January, I've been searching for hours for you.
Look, sweetie, please, I'm trying to do a show now. Can you see me after closing time?
I'm so sorry to bother again, but I am in terrible trouble and you've got to help.
Look, how can I help you? I can't even help myself.
Mr. January, you did the most wonderful and noble thing for me once.
Oh, that was years ago. There was a war on then. All men are noble in war.
You saved the life of a frightened and homeless little 5-year-old Chinese girl. That life belongs to you. You own me. You're responsible for me, and it is the custom of the Orient.
Please, will you go away? You've just ruined the effect of 3 free drinks.
There has been a tragedy, a murder, and I'll be accused.
What can I do about that?
I want you to come with me to get Fragrant Lotus and try to find a place for us to hide.
Well, why don't you go to the police?
I can't. Police mustn't know about her. They would take her away from me and send her back.
Well, honey, I can see your problem, but I can't neglect my business.
I have some money. We could stop on the way and buy you what you need.
Honey, with an offer like that, I don't own you anymore. You own me. Come on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's go and get the kid.
You hungry? Well, most young ladies who ride in this car seem to favor coq au vin or faisan d'or. I think you're a giant hamburger with malted milk type. Henry, maybe you can find out what our young passenger would like to eat.
Noble, samjanaibo, zururu.
She says she take coq au vin and faisan d'or.
Oh, she does she? All right, it's blackmail, but I'll take you to the most elegant restaurant in town.
Do they have a swing jazz combo there?
No, I'm afraid.
I dig jazz.
You do? You also dig English, don't you? You dig Count Basie?
Such mo! Louis Armstrong Clyde, he's the craziest.
You know, when you come on, honey, you're pretty wild yourself.
I like you, too.
You like me enough to tell me your name?
Fragrant Lotus. But that's square. You can call me Oscar.
Oscar?
Like the pianist, Oscar Johnson. He's far out, man.
All right, Oscar. Maybe you can tell me why you were hiding.
I can't. I promised Mother.
Lotus Bud? You want to help your mother? You don't have to tell me everything.
I can't. I promised.
Well, if you don't, there's nothing I can do.
Now you won't take me to dinner?
Oh, yes, I'll take you to dinner. I've promised you an elegant dinner, and I'll follow through.
Is she dead?
Who was it?
Chinese girl, Lotus Bud.
I was afraid you'd say that.
Why did you shoot at her? Oh, I didn't shoot at her. I saved her life. She belongs to me. I own her.
Take him to the prowl car. I gotta call Captain Burke. I'd rather cut my tongue out than try to explain this new wrinkle to him.
Oh, wait a minute. Come on.
Captain Burke. Yes, sir. Well, at least she's alive. I'd take the suspect down to headquarters. I'll join you there as soon as I can. Home, Henry. You'll stay with Oscar, and I'll take the car.
Yes, boss.
I want to stay with you.
Oh, but you can't, darling. Henry will fix you a nice late snack and tuck you into a big warm bed.
But you promised a wonderful dinner.
Oscar, when I promise a young lady a wonderful dinner, she invariably gets it. 3 days late and very cold. Big or small, a broken date annoys them all.
No, I didn't see the Chinese girl actually kill the man, but I snapped a picture of her just as she jumped out of the car. Oh, the newspapers paid quite a sum for that photo. I seem to have a flair for police photography. It may be my true calling. Oh, Captain Burke, did you see the photo in the newspapers?
Oh, yes, I did, Miss Potter. Excellent work, thank you.
May I have my camera back now, please?
Well, I'll see that it's returned to you immediately, yes.
Thank you. Gentlemen!
Same thing he told us last night, over and over, the same thing. My name is Charlie January. I'm a former radio ventriloquist with my own weekly show, 46 Nielsen, 27 Trendex, also play alto and clarinet, wear 42 size tuxedo, and will...
You're off the air.
Oh.
Did you find anything on the grounds?
Nothing. If he did it, he swallowed the gun.
Hey, Sarge, can't my old buddy here have a little refreshment between rounds?
No!
What a grouch.
I mean no.
Give it to him, Grouch. It's his bottle.
Thank you, Captain. Kind sir.
Now, the shooting puts Lotus Bud in the clear. We lose our prime suspect.
Not necessarily. Lotus Bud could have killed Professor Hanson. This might have been retribution from someone else.
Mrs. Hanson?
The thing it seems to point toward, huh?
Well, the 3 neophyte monks confirmed her alibi.
Charlie, did you know that Lotus Bud was leading a double life? She was working as a university assistant during the day and a dancer at night.
Oh, I knew that she needed some loot. Something about getting her kid out of Red China. She tried to tap me, but you see, I've got all my loose cash in the gold-labeled distillery here. I found this empty airline envelope in the girl's purse.
One-way ticket from Hong Kong. Arrival time 6 o'clock last night.
We're running a check on the airline.
Tune in now, Mr. January. A good performer has to come up with new material sooner or later.
You're on the air.
Can I see you for a minute, Les? Gentlemen, we are climbing an oriental glass wall, and we are getting nowhere.
And our only link is the kid at your house.
Professor Hanson certainly knew a lot of Orientals because of his work, but he doesn't seem to have had made any real enemies.
Other than his wife.
We're not sure how Lotus Bud felt about him. We've got an APB on her, but no nibble.
You know, we could look at this case Buster Phaedon.
Buster who?
Buster Phaedon. The way the ox plows up and down. That's the way Orientals read and write.
Timothy, quite by accident, you may have had a very brilliant thought. All right, we'll start from the top and work down. And we'll assume that the person who killed the professor is the same person who tried to kill Lotus Bud. Right?
You mind if I just keep my mouth shut and keep score on the abacus?
Now, if our suspect were to read in the newspaper that he had actually killed Lotus Bud, it might lull him into a false sense of accomplishment. It might make him confident enough to make a fatal little mistake.
But, Captain, can we get the press to circulate a false story like that?
Timothy. Confucius say, if you want to tell world, you tell woman.
Our school teacher tourist.
Yes, Charlie Chan, number one son. I shall return a camera and very foolishly allow us to scoop us again. And then I will withdraw into inner contemplation along the eightfold path to perfect existence.
Which means?
The Martini Widow, Sylvia Hansen.
I was sure you'd come back. I saw you respond to the magnetic pull of blissful otherness. You'd make a lovely monk.
I try not to make a mock of myself.
Oh, Captain Burke, you make a very bad pun.
Hello, Sidney. Are you a fellow Buddhist, friend of the family, or are you just here on business?
Came by to pay final respects to wife of deceased friend.
Sit down, Captain.
Well, thank you. You didn't mention last night that you knew the professor.
Did not know at the time it was honorable friend lying deceased in the street.
Tea?
Please.
I just heard the happy news flash on the radio. Lotus Bud has been killed, too.
Yes, I know. And she was the only one who could have possibly identified your husband's murderer.
Oh, she was his murderer, Captain.
And who killed her?
When I was in withdrawal, I concentrated on blanking her from my life. The greater force out there smiled on me and blanked her permanently.
It occurs to me that the greater force out there used a .38 revolver. You would have to own one by any chance.
Not a chance.
That's a pretty unpleasant insinuation to lay upon a grieving widow, Captain. My most wretched self has been doing business with this household for many moons, and I'm here to tell you that Mrs. Hanson's solid as the Great Wall of China.
Well, there are two sides to every wall. Inside and outside. Burke's Law.
Oh, that's very good, Captain. Do you ever think of doing a book of Proverbs? Much more hip than Confucius.
Thanks. Lumps.
Mr. Yang, as a friend of the family, has been very helpful to me in this grim hour.
It occurs to me that Mr. Yang might have been the greater force out there who helped you create this grim hour.
What do you mean?
To be blunt about it, where were the two of you last night when Lotus Bud was killed?
Oh, well, according to the time mentioned on the news flash, I was here with Mr. Yang.
Yes, she was right here with me.
My, what a fortunate coincidence. I'll be in touch.
Oh, Captain. You haven't said how you liked me in mourning. How do I look in black?
It's perfect, Mrs. Hanson. Somehow, black is just you. He's feeling no pain.
You know, I think we're looking for two different killers.
Really?
The knifing of the professor was Oriental, but not the shooting at Lotus Bud. The Chinese prefer the sword to the gun.
Maybe, but I seem to recall that they invented gunpowder.
We got a report from the airlines on that Hong Kong ticket. It was a little Chinese girl. She flew in last night. The stewardess remembered her.
Is that all she remembers?
Well, she checked her through customs and put her in a cab and sent her to the Paper Dragon Club. Kid had the address on her coat.
January said he owned Lotus Bud. I might give him a second mortgage on the little girl. It could compel her to talk to him.
She might be intrigued by that hen puppet, too.
Yeah, well, let's hope it's not as smashed as he is.
We've got to get him to Lotus Bud's apartment. I'll pick up the child and bring her over.
But, Captain, do you think Lotus Bud would come back to her apartment again?
Well, she thinks the child is still there. She has no way of knowing that we've got it.
But she was shot there. That might discourage her return.
Well, we've got to try, Tim. If nothing loosens up now, we're up the Yangtze without a sampan. All right, Charlie boy, front and center. Curtain going up. Time for the Charlie January show. Come on, boy.
Hey, what you doing? What's the matter? What's going on? That's a real swinger. Lay it on me, Clyde. That was a gas tank.
I wish Mother was here. She said she'd come back.
Sweetheart, you know, I want to help you.
So do I, my child. But we can't unless you tell us things.
I guess it's all right to tell you. Mother said we belong to you.
Good. Now,
Hong Kong.
Oh yeah. What were you doing in Hong Kong?
Coming from my grandmother's home in Red China, joined my mother here in America.
You mean you've never been here before?
No, but grandmother told me all about it.
Grandmother?
Many years ago, she was a great vaudeville artist here.
You lived with your grandmother until your mother could bring you here. Is that right? Now, could you tell me what happened after you left the airport and went to the Paper Dragon Club last night?
I went to Mother's dressing room, and she wasn't there. I heard men outside the door. They argued about money. I was afraid, and I hid behind Mother's costumes.
Did they come into the room?
Then they got even madder. One man made the other man all bloody with a knife and ran out of the room.
Did you see the men, darling?
He was awful tall.
Oh, yeah? How tall?
9 feet tall.
Do you remember what he looked like?
He had 2 heads. And fire was coming out of his mouth.
2 heads and fire was coming out of his mouth. Poor kid, she didn't sleep a wink at my place last night.
9 feet tall and 2 heads.
Little fragrant lotus is a little flagrant liar.
No, I think she's being honest. A child's shocked impression. Come on, darling, let's go to sleep.
Fish on the line.
All right, let's reel it in.
Mother! Where were you?
I tried to come back sooner, but someone shot at me and I was afraid. Are you all right?
Yes, Captain Burke took care of me.
I am very grateful.
Oh, boys, take Mr. January back to his home.
All this running around in police cars is not very good for my image.
Yeah. For all you have done for us.
Perish the thought, my dear. A man can't accept payment from his own daughter, adopted or not.
I'll take it. Might need it for one of those cold winter nights.
I told about last night. Was that all right, Mother?
Yes. That was the right thing, dear.
But you didn't tell us why the fight occurred in your dressing room.
I had to get fragrant lotus out of Red China. And I confided in Professor Hanson at the university. He offered to help, but it would cost $5,000.
Smuggling refugees.
Professor Hanson arranged for me to borrow the money at very great interest.
Who was his contact?
I never found out. The professor came to the club last night. He demanded another $3,000. And I was desperate.
Desperate?
Oh, I didn't kill him.
Obviously, the smuggler decided to streamline his operation by eliminating the middleman. It would be handsome. You know, at the moment, there are a lot of people who think you're dead.
Yes, I saw the papers. It's shocking to read of your own death.
Technically, I'd like you to remain dead a little longer. Now, I'm going to take you to the Paper Dragon.
Oh, please.
I'm arranging a series of intimate little dinner parties this evening, and I want you to dance at them.
I couldn't, not yet,
No,
please.
this is a
not
command
there.
performance, my dear, to trap the killer.
Hey, hotshot. Is that banjo one of those ancient Chinese torture devices?
It's a pipa. It's a kind of Chinese lute.
Thanks.
He swings pretty good.
It still sounds like scratching on tin. Ask them if they know Melancholy Baby.
That's what they're playing.
And does everything meet with your approval now, honorable gentlemen?
Oh, fine, Hop Sing. Pull up a chopstick and join us.
Well, I'll just be having a finger or two. Thanks.
It's excellent soup, Mr. Kelly.
It's Irish chowder. I just put a noodle in it to honor the noble Chinese ancestors on my mother's side.
Oh, by the way, I brought my own exotic dancer here tonight. I hope you don't mind.
Not a bit of it. If she's good, I'll be after hiring her to replace the dear, sweet Lotus Bud who's gone to meet her ancestors. Lotus Bud. Oh, me darling girl. Oh, sure, and you brought yourself back from the dead.
Are you disappointed?
Disappointed? Why should I be disappointed? Oh, I'm that glad to see you're alive and well, dear girlie.
Thank you, Hope Sing. Thank you.
I hate to be an ungracious host, but why don't you eat and run? I'm expecting other guests.
I'm on to you now. As old Confucius, that fine broth of a philosopher, says, there's dirty work afoot in Dublin tonight.
No, don't worry. I've crossed you off the list.
Oh, yes.
Now, you go back and wait for your cue again. Let's hope we have better luck next time. That's one down, 2 to go. I'm delighted you were able to join us, Mrs. Hanson.
The invitation intrigued me. But I did hope you meant dinner for 2.
Well, in a Chinese restaurant, when you order for 4, you get more.
Well, there's always after dinner, isn't there?
Well, you know how it is with Chinese food. It doesn't stay with you long.
Pass the egg roll, please.
Well, aren't you shocked?
At what?
It's Lotus Bud.
I know. I willed her back. The monks taught me how I shall will her back now and then to entertain me.
But, Mrs. Hanson, Lotus Bud is not dead.
Oh, really? I must have slipped up somewhere between the first and second stages of inner contemplation. Are you sure she's not dead?
Oh, yes, I'm positive.
Oh, well, it's not a total loss. At least I still have my insurance money.
So, Mrs. Hanson, Did you know that your husband was involved in a business deal with Lotus Bud? A deal to get her daughter out of Red China?
It's true, Mrs. Hanson. That's all there is to it.
That's her side of the story, and we can't very well ask Eric for his, can we? I take back what I told you earlier today. You'd make a lousy monk. No feeling for privacy and seclusion.
Boy, Captain, she's a kook.
Or a very clever woman. One more to go. So nice of you to accept my invitation, senor.
So nice of you to offer. Men in my line of work, constantly on go, skip meals, result in headaches, upset stomach, logy feeling.
Yes, I know. With 2 murders recently, it certainly hasn't affected your appetite.
Sorrow is bitter morsel, but life must go on. Or as my people say, take 1 from column A, 2 from column B.
Either way, you get chop suey.
You're a student of my culture.
Does your culture include smuggling?
What?
Professor Hanson was smuggling refugees out of Red China. He had a partner who didn't need him any longer. So, goodbye, Professor.
Sorry, Captain. Wrong number. I'm in the jewelry business.
Something wrong, Sidney.
Oh, Lotus Bud is dead. She is dead, I know it.
Of course, because you shot her.
She is dead!
Take him down and book him. 3 counts.
3 counts?
Murder of Professor Hanson, attempted murder of Lotus Bud.
That's only 2.
Oh, yes. Selling jewelry without license? I think this should cover it.
It's a pleasure doing business with you.
You gonif.
Amos, they told me I'd find you here. You promised me dinner last night, remember?
I certainly do. All right, we'll take a private dining room right in here.
Can we go now? You promised me dinner last night, remember?
Where have I heard those words before?
I don't see how I can really be jealous.
Thanks. Tomorrow night, I promise. Shall we?
You saved Mother's life tonight. Now Mr. January doesn't own us anymore. We belong to you.
I will marry you if you wish.
You can be my pop.
Oh, well, I didn't save your mother's life, darling. It was Detectives Hart and Detective Wilson. Yes, I get it.
What's the matter?
Let's get out of here.
Oh, where to, boss?
Anywhere. Chinatown's dangerous at night.